Wow, I flicked straight at that guy through the wall. Oopsie.
Whoa, this cat girl is really good at Battlefield. I wonder what the comments have to say. Oh, wow. I didn't even think that was a word. Hold on, what does any of this have to do with cheating? Hello everybody, and welcome to the video. I know I'm a little late to this one, but I have had a pretty difficult month, and I am now in a rush to get this video published, so let's get right into it. RileyCS is a streamer who plays games like Call of Duty and Battlefield on a regular basis. A couple weeks ago, she uploaded a montage of gameplay clips she captured while playing the new Battlefield 6 beta to X. X, of course, being the breeding grounds for filthy incels and AI bros alike. The video almost immediately went viral as hundreds of washed-up gamers began accusing Riley of playing illegitimately. There's one issue though. It doesn't take much to realize that these allegations were based heavily in bigotry and hatred towards trans women like Riley. It quickly started to gain traction and is probably one of the most controversial clips in modern gaming. It's almost flattering to know that whether it be sports or video games, the biggest fear for these morons is always being outperformed by a trans woman. Now I am going to play the original video, but I'm not going to dissect the footage because I don't really think that's necessary. This was essentially a smear campaign encouraged by the fact RileyCS identifies as a transgender woman, not because people thought she was cheating. Regardless of how legitimate her gameplay is, there is no reason for the way she's been treated, and I want to make that clear before we continue. You're welcome to share your thoughts on the matter in the comment section below on the condition that you are respectful and use her preferred pronouns. Otherwise, I don't really have a reason to take your opinion seriously.
That was so long ago. Oh my god, what the fuck? That was nuts! Wow, I flicked straight at that guy through the wall. Oopsie. How are you getting 240 FPS? Good computer. How much of this game have you played, though? Let's see, man. Whoa! So I just got a free Abyssal Dagger. Oh
Feels
my!
like this gun is gas.
Oh my god, I'm crying. What the fuck? Okay, so you had 2,000 viewers and you're calling me famous. No way! I just lost a nutty clip to Bloom. RileyCS, what the fish?
After uploading this footage, Riley was met with a lot of hostility from people throughout the gaming community. Some people had reasonable doubts over the legitimacy of her gameplay, but they were quickly overshadowed by the thousands of people who thought that this was an excuse to be transphobic. This obviously isn't new. I feel like every time a trans person does or says anything, they're criticized for the weirdest reasons on any platform. There's an instance of a trans woman who lost her source of income on TikTok after saying that Michael Jackson's music was bad. I mean, I don't personally agree either, but that's not really a valid reason to take away someone's livelihood. It really shows just how little it takes for people to take action against a transgender person and treat them differently from other people. This situation is no different. Something about watching a trans woman hit clips in Battlefield really gets their panties in a twist. Now, I could spend this entire video crafting an elaborate argument for these boneheads to ignore, but nothing I say is going to get through to them. These people don't hate Riley for cheating, they hate her for being trans, which means they can't be reasoned with. I could spend weeks analyzing footage and nobody who doesn't already agree with me will listen. So instead I'm just going to craft a quick argument for anyone who might be on the fence and move on. You can take it or leave it. This is really good gameplay, and good players don't usually need to cheat. She pays close attention to the minimap, catches the enemy off guard, and uses movement to her advantage. Her accuracy is impressive, but her positioning shows experience and game sense, which is way more important. Almost all of these are skills you develop over time and can't really be bought using cheats. If that doesn't convince you, that's totally fine. Whether Riley is cheating or not is kind of irrelevant to me. There is no excuse for the way she's being treated, and I don't want to get distracted from the real issue here. Riley is not being critiqued for cheating. She is being harassed for identifying as a trans woman. If you want proof, you need to look no further than the comment section of the original video. Most of what was said can't even be shown on YouTube without risking demonetization. Usually that would insinuate light swearing, but this time it means they were saying some pretty heinous shit. Almost none of the comments actually mentioned why they thought Riley was cheating, only that she definitely was. All this feedback prompted Riley to stream again, but this time she had a camera directed at her mouse, which allowed viewers to analyze her gameplay and compare it to her hand movement. Riley seemed determined to be as transparent as possible with her viewers, and it was mostly successful. She even opened up her task manager to show everyone the software her computer was running. This proved to the best of her ability that Riley's gameplay was completely genuine. Unfortunately, that still wasn't enough to convince the denizens of filth that exist on X, and it even seemed to irritate them more. At this point, it really started to feel like a skill issue where insecure men on the internet got outperformed by a cat girl. Trans people quickly began to coin the term aimstrogen, implying estrogen was giving us better aim, which is just fucking genius. As time went on, more and more people started to take notice, and within a few days, Riley's post had tens of millions of views, which is a little insane. To give you some perspective, there are thousands of cheaters currently playing various online games, and many of them are actively streaming. I could be wrong, but I don't think there's ever been any one instance of quote-unquote cheating caught on tape that has gotten 90 million views in 2 weeks. Clips surface each week of people who are suspected of hacking, and plenty of them go viral, but people only care this much when it's a woman. This is an issue we've seen over and over again within the gaming community, and it never seems to get properly addressed. Whenever these men see a woman who plays better than them, they get insecure and start accusing her of cheating. Then they'll resort to using blatant misogyny or transphobia as a way to make themselves feel more powerful. If you're a woman, or you are typically perceived as a woman online, you've almost certainly witnessed it firsthand. It's a big issue that isn't taken seriously by the gaming industry because issues involving women are always put on the back burner. I guess they're too busy catering to the men who complain about how the game is unfair. Regardless, Riley obviously knew how to play the hand she was dealt, and these clowns fell for it hook, line, and sinker. RileyCS quickly became the topic of conversation for a large portion of the gaming community, eventually prompting larger content creators like Asmongold to say the quiet part out loud. RileyCS is just better.
So this is the way I look at it. If I see somebody that's that good at FPS, why aren't you playing that? Why have you never played on any team? Why aren't you on like a Valorant team? Why aren't you playing professionally, competitively? Why isn't that happening? And I think that that's one of the things that I really always ask is that, like, if you see somebody, he's too good. Yeah, exactly. Right. And anybody would say that, oh, well, maybe it's because he doesn't want to or whatever. If these people are professional streamers, like which this person clearly is, they probably would do that. I mean, they would play competitively. They would enter competitions.
This might be one of my favorite examples of Asmongold being inconceivably stupid. Mostly because he has first-hand experience in this type of thing. I don't know, maybe I've been taking too much estrogen, but I feel like there is probably a long list of reasons why someone wouldn't want to play these games professionally. I mean, the average esports career only lasts about 5 years before they switch back to streaming, so that's gotta count for something, right? But what about security, mental health, personal hygiene, all of which are put through the gauntlet as these people train excessively and perform in front of millions? I feel it's important to mention that SA is also relatively common in esports. Maybe the average skilled player just doesn't want to risk being assaulted when they come into work. Whatever the reason may be, there are plenty of valid excuses for why someone may not want to play video games professionally as a career. He can feign ignorance all he wants, but Asmongold's own esports team has had multiple instances of alleged inappropriate conduct. Yet, he's going to sit here and try to tell people that there's no good reason someone wouldn't play professionally. It didn't take long after Riley's footage caught traction that her Twitch account was mass reported by hundreds of people and unfortunately got banned. This only managed to validate the delusions of the conservative mob and convinced many that they were right to attack her. If you're familiar with Twitch TOS, you probably know that cheating is something that Twitch will take action against your account for, but that doesn't necessarily mean that when Twitch takes action against somebody's account for cheating, that they were definitely cheating. Typically, they'll issue a temporary ban if Twitch detects a large influx of people reporting a channel within a short amount of time. Twitch will then take time to determine the validity of the ban based on VOD footage and any argument the streamer may make in an appeal. It's not a flawless system, but it worked, and thankfully the ban was quickly overturned within the day, which strongly seems to suggest that Twitch found no evidence of actual cheating. Riley would then return to find love and support from a much larger audience. The controversy seems to have died down pretty quickly, and although some people are still convinced she's a cheater, it's hard for anyone to take the accusation seriously when channels like Call of Shame exist. Again, I'm not going to spend 20 minutes reviewing footage. I don't mind if you think Riley's cheating. I wanted to make an argument in defense of Riley, not just her gameplay, but that's not to say there aren't really good arguments to be made there either. I've seen a few videos where people try to defend Riley, and I think they all did a really good job, so I'm going to link them in the description in case any of you are curious. The internet's reception to this situation has been concerning, and it really just goes to show how insecure some of these people are. I'm really glad Riley was able to come out on top, but something like this easily could have ended her career, and it felt like a lot of people were desperate to make that happen. I think it's getting to a point where you should probably give trans people the benefit of the doubt until you're given the full context of the situation. I'm especially disappointed in some of these content creators who saw this as an opportunity to profit off Riley's compromising position as a trans woman. It was incredibly easy to make an argument that Riley was cheating because of her gender identity, and many of these people took advantage of that. I can't say much right now other than they should be ashamed of themselves, but trust me, behind the scenes, I'm saying a lot more. This type of behavior online is pathetic and exhausting. The second a transgender person achieves something, anything at all, it offends them to the very core. They feel threatened by the way we act, the way we look, the way we speak, the way we play sports, and even the way we play games. They can't fathom how a transgender woman could be better at anything without cheating, and that is something we should be proud of. They never cared if Riley was cheating. They were just looking for an excuse to treat her like shit, and she used it to her advantage. Obviously, it's important to remember these targeted attacks on trans content creators will not stop. We have been dehumanized to the point where a situation like this could easily have cost RileyCS her career or even her safety, but it didn't, and we at least have that much to be grateful for. If you choose to believe that Riley is cheating and you'd like to comment below, again, please be respectful of her when doing so. Otherwise, I think I've said everything I wanted to say in this video. If you enjoyed, please consider leaving a like below, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye!